Yeah, so that was a little intro to the Cockpit and Instruments Asset Pack that I recently released a few weeks back, maybe. And I just want to spend this time to take you through how it's organized, the pack, and how it is laid out and what the thoughts are behind it, a few of the inspirations. And also want to show you how I use it to construct new assets. So let's check that out. And here's the file when you download it. It has a bunch of Blender files. It has a license. It has a little gallery with an overview, a visual overview of what the pack contains. And then it has a folder with the textures in it. And of course, this is if you want to modify stuff, if you want to export to a different 3D software package or mess around with it in general. So these are sorted by size. So the first file here, Cockpits and Instruments Parts, obviously is all the little trinkets. Let's take a look at it. So it's laid out like this. Base structure elements over here, flight decks and hoods and panels. Then we have pre-assembled instrument panels here. Then we have individual components here, which means the pre-assembled instrument panels are made with all these parts over here. And then lastly, we have miscellaneous and effects. So if we start looking at the base structure, here we have the empty flight decks. So that's the flight decks that are contained in the pack at present. And it is a big aircraft currently. So next to that, we have the hoods and panels. The hoods is a nice little foundation for your cockpits, and panels are for all kinds of miscellaneous actions around it. Instrument clusters. These are sort of multi-purpose panels that you can use for all kinds of things. You can really get far and wide with these, and they are situated here in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different colors. Next to them we have the center and side consoles, and that is consoles that have sort of a more of a vertical element as well, where these over here, they can be positioned as however you want them really, and these make more sense as standing in this position. Next to them we have monitors. Here's a few variations. And next to them we have the multifunctional displays here with both in color variation and screen color and content variation. Bunch of these keypads. This is where you find your little console keypads, joysticks, button keyboard heavy stuff. Next to that, you have the gauge clusters. This is where you find all your traditional gauges in different flavors. Retro stuff, really, right? Hudson scopes and sticks and yokes. Yeah, I like that one. So for Hudson scopes, it is also screen-based oscilloscope-ish instruments with different things, and you can see here some of the animation stuff that is included here. Next to that, as I mentioned, sticks, yokes, and all kinds of things. They come in both helicopter, jet, passenger aircraft variants, and then a few science fiction variants over here that I felt had sort of a junky and kind of a fun flavor to them. Again, animation on some of them here. Seats, yeah, this is a fun project. Building seats, and there are a bunch of different variations as well. Some of them feel quite jet-like, some of them feel more like a helicopter thing or passenger jet, and then we have something that feels a little bit more maybe science fiction or maybe retro-tastic leather chairs for all kinds of purposes, right? Then we have trinkets and junk, and that is everything from little auxiliary indicators here and pressure valves and all kinds of little things, hood covers and lamps and fans and arms for your little, I don't know, button screens, whatever, all kinds of things. Fire extinguishers, exhaust ports, latches, hatches, cables and wires, and my favorite, standard operating procedure ring binder here for the noobs that need to learn how to fly the thing. And again, some more pipes and some parts that you can position advantageously to create some visual clutter if you need that. And then screen designs. This is basically just one big face with the texture map on it, just to give you an overview of what that contains. And then over here we have some animated examples where some of these are coming together and different effects up here. So that's really sort of the big overview of all kinds of stuff. That's how it's laid out. And I know some of you prefer an asset browser version. I couldn't quite make it in time, and I like working like this, drag and drop. I'll show you that a little later. But it would be nice to have a asset browser version as well. So if I sort out some of the bugs and some of the issues I have with it, it'll be updated. If not, it will not be. I can't say that just yet. So if we come back to the folder, let's take a look at some of these flight decks. So here they are. And these are intended for you to jump in and use them straight away, really. And this here, this case right here, is a passenger jet, sort of a fairly modern feel to it. And you can see my ring binder, my favorite ring binder, made its way up here. And other than that, it is just high-tech, touchscreen based stuff. And next to it, we have something that feels a little more 60s, 50s, 60s maybe. And so that's more of a retro aircraft of sorts. And this could be both a bomber or a commercial airliner. I suppose you have rivets in the windows and little screens and vents and all kinds of things. This one, definitely a bomber. This is somewhat B-52 inspired. The red lights and the red gauges and the green retro screens. You can sort of see this flying at night, doing some dirty business over a war-torn part of some lands, faraway lands. And lastly, we have a supersonic bomber. This is Russian inspired, so this is has that blue and fans and all kinds of trinkets everywhere to give it this lovely visual complexity. This one was a lot of fun because in terms of lived-in spaces and detail and everything, this was really a fun one to work on. Yeah, so that's the 4 main decks that you have available in the pack as it stands now. There's an update coming, but I can't talk about it yet because that's secret. And if it wasn't secret, it wouldn't be fun. So it has to be secret. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these dashboards that are in the pack as well. These are not full flight decks, but dashboards that I figured would be fairly commonly used. Here you can see something that is somewhat inspired by an F-14. You can imagine this being the front cockpit, and here you could imagine this being the rear cockpit. They have their HUD on the window pane itself, but you can see sort of a, I don't know what this is, mid-60s flavor to it with gauges and instruments and sort of retro screens and things like that. Next to that, we have something, I'm not really sure what inspired this, maybe F-15 or something. It's a little bit more high-tech. We have some more touchscreens and some more modernized equipment. Similar layout, really. And this one as well, this could be the bomber or the navigator, or what's it called? The one behind you, right? With a different set of tasks that demand a different set of kit. You can see that it has these little panels that are positioned in place after the fact, I guess, to prevent certain things or reflect light, or as the need of the cockpit changes, so does the need for sunshade and things like that. So I like this complexity to the shapes. It's really fun. And over here we have another one. This is a little bit more fantastical in flavor. It's not strictly inspired by anything real per se, but maybe this can fit both in reality but also in sort of a more imaginary setting. And again, a bomber version of that. Switch gears and a better overview of situational awareness, if you will. And then last one, yeah, this one is definitely F-15 inspired, but black and red, so give it this hardcore feel to it. These were super fun to do, and really fun to play with both the different sense, a sense of the different ages that are at the same time, and also have that junky custom different needs over time flavor to them. So that's the jets. And then we can take a look at some of the heavies you've seen already. Some of these dashboards are, as you remember from the first pass in the big cockpits. Here we have some passenger stuff, retro 60s, modern here, maybe some Soviet era stuff here. Again, bombers of different sorts, maybe B-52 inspired, maybe Victor inspired. You know, it has a sort of a Eurocentric feel to it, American feel to it. And then over here we have something that I made up, which is again striving for that late 50s, mid 60s flavor here, and more of a Soviet flavor here. And so these are intended to really be used for anything large. If we come back and look at the folder, we just have the helicopters left in the overview. And here over here we start with a little bird type of flavor, right? Where you can imagine this being sort of a little 4-person go fast helicopter, or maybe helicopter for weather patrol, or dropping in some special forces guys or something like that. In a few different flavors, militaristic and civil and modern. And over here we then start to have some fun with something that feels a bit more like an attack helicopter, again with scopes and screens and all kinds of things. And here a different take. You can imagine this particular piece of kit, right, where you stick your face in that little rubber gasket there, and is that what it's called? Anyway, the visor there, and you can sort of imagine scoping and shooting missiles and stuff like that. So that's the attack helicopters from civilian and to attack. And then over here we have something like big helicopters inspired by the Black Hawk. Again, militaristic and harsh and black, this one. Maybe something more civilian over here for this one. Fairly modern, but not black and menacing, a little bit more friendly in its design. And then something that feels a little bit more old over here, or retro. So sort of like this could be both civil and militaristic. This could be probably civilian, and then this one feels decidedly militaristic. So that's the big helicopter cockpits. So if we come back to the file, let's jump into the big parts bucket here. Let's try and build something. I can show you how I would go about building a new design. Obviously, you have the pre-finished designs just to get you started real quick, and basically to allow you to, get to the point of what you're trying to create faster. But what I think is really fun about the pack is to build your own stuff. So I would just open this file, and then I would start with probably with some of these hoods here. Okay, let's take this one. Then I just copy it out. It doesn't really matter where you position it. It could be anywhere. I think actually I want to come in and stretch it a bit. Let's see if we can get our correct face attributes on, so that when we what am I doing here? I'm trying to select all of the things. Okay, come on. There we go. We get these ones as well. Something like that. Yeah, cool. Let's do that. We place our cursor here, and then I go hunting for little parts that I know I want here, and then I just select them and send them over to my little cursor. So let me show you what I mean. You know what? I want to start with a central thing. Okay, this one. Then I just copy that, and I do Shift S, selection to cursor. Now it's sent over there. It can rest. It looks a little chunky and junky and weird, but that's fine. Again, I'll continue my hunt for, you know what, we'll send this one too. All right, so that's some center stuff. We need some screens as well. The question is if it should be modern screens like these guys, or more retro screens like these guys. You know what? I like these ones. Let's throw one of these over there. Maybe keyboard as well. Maybe a keyboard as well. Come on, there we go. All right. It's always good to have a few weirdo screens, just for fun. They got sent. Okay, cool. Keyboards, gauges. Yeah, gauges is probably... It's usually a good idea to have a few of those. Maybe take these guys. Copy. Selection to cursor. I choose the brown ones, right? Remember, that's the color we're working with right now. Scopes. Okay, cool. Maybe this one? Okay, sticks and yokes. Let's wait with that a little bit. And we wait with the seat as well, because as I was building this, I learned real quick that if you place seats and put in walls and everything, like the size of the cockpit, too early, you can't work because everything gets so cramped real quick. Okay, we'll wait with this junk till later. Let's come back to our thing here. So I just placed this stuff. Again, is this the smartest way? I don't know. If you have a better method, let me know in the comments. I'm sort of placing them mentally around the way so that I, for instance, these screens, I'm placing them up here because I know they're going to be positioned later into the shape as an afterthought or as a way to accent the final design. Okay. I suppose we are really centered around this one here. Can't go up in our item, align tools, align on... Oh no, I forgot that I didn't have this one aligned to the center. So there we go, that's better. Maybe this central thing doesn't really work after all. Okay, maybe we can get somewhere with this. Rotating it a little bit. I'm trying not to scale the individual parts too much because most of them have the buttons at a certain scale that fits characters and things like that. But still, I will allow myself to scale a little bit here and there. Maybe we have two different stations here. If it's a double seat cockpit, maybe we can say that this one over here is the pilot and this one over here is the navigator, or something like that. And with that in mind, we can choose a gear that fits that role. So of course the false horizon should come over to the pilot side of things. That makes sense. You see, I suppose I'm doing some sort of fantasy shape here, like maybe it's a sci-fi design. Again, choose our cursor. I need some gauges up here. I need some gauges to come up here, and these guys are, vertically stacked, so that doesn't really make sense. I need to find some horizontally stacked gauges. So we come back to these guys. Okay, and I'll find this one and this one. I also have these guys. Okay, I'll get this one as well. We come back. -90-degree rotation. I start with 90 degrees. I will usually rotate them a little bit after. Let me show you what I mean. So now the question is if we want to have... You can see they can intersect. It's not a big deal, right? You can sync them into... right, you see what I mean? The three little dials there, they come into the monitor. It's fine. something like that, for instance. Now it feels like there's sort of a basic need covered for dials here. I guess we could consider this one as well. But let's try and maybe we move that down here. We have two different versions of an artificial horizon. That's okay, but for the sake of argument, let's try to do the same trick here. You can see it doesn't always work equally well. You can see in here I have this visible, which is a little clunky, so I'll try and move it up here. Maybe sync it backwards. Is there a hole behind? Yeah, there is. Okay. Okay, right, like this. Again, not perfect, but it depends on your use case. In many cases, it's not really super important if you do it like this, or if you are more precise. Oftentimes, it's not particularly important. Okay, maybe we place this screen over here. And then I want to scale down these guys and fill in the blanks here. Again, if people know jets and aircraft, they'll be like, wait, what are these gauges? This makes no sense. Altitude, speed, engine management. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I think if you want to do a simulator, you should probably build your own stuff from the ground up. If you want to have some B-roll, or if you want to have a little look into a cockpit here and there, this Assetpack can really help you. But it's certainly not a pack for simulation purposes, because it is simply not accurate enough. The good thing about it is, though, because it isn't accurate as that, you have a wide use case, which means you can do all kinds of things with it. You know what? We can place that there. Just make space for these guys out here. So here you can see how loosey-goosey I am with these assets. All right, I kind of like that. It's kind of fun. Oh, maybe actually this was silly. I think we should have the same little thingamajig over here. All right. No, I wanted them outside, didn't I? Okay, no, come back to this one. So you can see how hours and hours can go by just noodling with different cockpit layouts. Quite fun. I mean, provided you like cockpits, obviously. But I certainly enjoy it. Sorry, I'm being quiet. I'm just focusing on the job here. Losing myself. Nah, that doesn't work. In the work. Yeah, that works better for the height, I think. All right, let's kill these off. So here we have sort of the beginning of a cockpit. Usually I work with the big picture first, which means I work with the screens, the monitors, dials and gauges and all that stuff. And then after a little while, when I feel I have something that works, then I will come back and I will start to mess it up with all kinds of the smaller parts. Let's take a look at how to do that. So same method as before. Maybe we're ready to discuss these. Let's see. Now I'm keeping it open here. If it's going to be a more fantastical design or a more credible design. Let's take these pedals here, and then we will explore these three different. What do you call them? Power handles. My brain. Gas pedal for hands. Come on. All right, seat here, and then the important stuff is all the junk. So I like these two. I'll bring them over. Maybe we'll do a few handles. can see I just copy them into space, doesn't really matter where, and then I blast them over to my little asset there. Then I have these little filler guys here. They can be quite useful for filling in blank spaces, and so can these actually, and these ones as well. All right, let's start with that for now. Ah, stupid! I placed them all a little sillily. All right, I'll keep the pedals the same size because otherwise it's probably going to be a nightmare. Just put them in underneath here. So in terms of these throttles, thank you, there it is. Normally you would have a complicated center throttle with engines and stuff like that, or you would have a simplistic side throttle like this. So usually you wouldn't combine them. But because I'm thinking it's a bit of a sci-fi ship here and I can do what I want, we can just explore using both. You can see I'm just letting this panel here steer clear of this so they don't intersect. But normally I don't really mind intersecting too much. I'm a little bit careful about it here, but still, staying loosey-goosey. I don't really know which one I want from these yet. This one is too big. Be gone. Does that work? Yeah, that can work. We have the regular stick here. We have all of our junk in here. That's a little bit dumb. I should have chosen a cursor point outside the model. This is a little too messy. But we'll get by, I'm sure. All right, that was it. Okay, so first I would take these little auxiliary junky buttons and I would add them to the spaces that allow for a little bit more stuff. Actually, this one should go over here. I'll rotate it. And this one can come down here. Let's get it up a little bit. Again, you can see these buttons are intersecting with this one. Question is if we care, or we can also just, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Scale it like this. That's fine. Take this one over here and mirror it. Oops. Something like that. Pedals. Now I'm getting lazy. Now I'm just visually centering them on this green line here. There we go. That's fine. Hate mail me in the comments, please. So the question is, do we want to go science fiction-y on it or what? That feels kind of fun. How about a regular stick here? I mean, the keyboard and these instruments look a little funky, right? They look a little sci-fi, so maybe in that sense, I'm actually telling myself that it should be more of a science fiction thing. So this one, we'll take this one. All right. So what I usually do is I take these and I place them on top. Just loosey-goosey like this. That doesn't quite work. It has to come up like this. Okay, so I see these as instruments that have been positioned after the fact, right? These are instruments that have been plugged in here to serve a specific purpose that we can't quite understand as viewers. And you can see how roughly I'm just adapting it to the shape that I need. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, say you want to replace the texture map on this little screen here. Hang on. No. See, when you choose transparency, you can see these little dots here when you select faces, which allows you to select in the depth quite easy. So there it is. So then I go to shading, zoom out. Here you can see all the screen materials in this texture map. So select this screen and I can move it around and simply find another element of the texture that I think fits. Maybe we go with this gauge up here. Do the same with this one. So this is glass, screen content, and another glass element. So this one. Do the same with that. We give it this funky little thing up here and scale it so we got those teeth coming in. Looks kind of cool. Right. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, auxiliary stuff. Then we can place handles. It's almost like you would imagine there would be grab handles here and there. Grab handles here and there. I don't like that rough edge we had there. Well, okay, no way around it. So we come back to this one. Up our degrees a little bit. Copy that over here. Degrees. Let's place that up here. Can I just sink it into the surface roughly? Again, it doesn't have to be super precise, but of course your needs might vary in terms of how precise you need to make it. But for my purpose here, my point is to show you what I mean, and in that sense, it doesn't have to be super precise. Stretch this out a little bit more. Actually, you know what? That look kind of fun. We'll take these two, scale them in like that. Yeah, that works. You can see I'm adding an unknown junky device here in the corner, and I think it adds sort of a sense of, again, the things have changed over time and the needs have changed over time and things like that. And I really think that's fun. Okay, this handle, we have the other handles as well. And sometimes I place what's the English word for these guys? Danish we say et beslag. Where the structure would be strengthened, or how they're composed would be strengthened with something like this, to give you sort of that sense of, again, that things are built in a certain way. And I place them alongside objects like this. And again, it gives you that sense that things are constructed and that the needs of the object have changed over time and everything like that. So let's kill these guys. We can place a C. Come on. 180 degrees, that works. So this happens sometimes when you build. That's why you need to seat around, otherwise you build it too narrow. So I'm imagining a floor here. maybe we copy this seat over. Maybe we imagine they can rotate. Sometimes I move them back like this to basically make space for the camera. But here you can see what I mean, right? Cockpit parts. If you want to set this into a cockpit, like I mentioned, have a few cockpits available in the pack now and working on a few more. You can start adding panels. You can start shaping everything around that if you want to. But with this pack, you've gotten really far, and I would say it allows you to have fun with composition. It allows you to have fun with imagining the universe you're in, right? If you want to make a techie, high-tech jet fighter, or if you want to make something more fantastical and junky spaceship in a used universe or something like that. And so that's really a quick overview of the pack. Yeah, so that's the Cockpit and Instruments Asset Pack. I hope you find it reasonably entertaining to see how I use it. I hope you find it reasonably informative as well. That said, if you have any more questions about it, if you are unsure about certain aspects, ask me in the comments, and I'll come back to you. Other than that, let's take a look at a few more renders.